Everybody, J.M. Mannion here in Pittsburgh at the MPC Photo Gym, and I am here with your 2020 Junior USA and IFBB New York Pro Women's Physique overall,
Rachel Daniels.
So, we get to do this again.
It's like deja vu.
Yeah, we did this in Charleston after Junior USA's,
Yes.
which is a story unto itself, isn't it?
It is.
Okay, so the story is basically Rachel wins Junior USA. I ask her what she's going to do next, and she's like everybody, I'm going to take time. I need to get better. And I'm like, listen, if the judges judged you to be a pro, and especially if you won the overall, you can step on a pro stage. Where do you live, Rachel? Where do you live?
Tampa, Florida.
Oh, guess what was coming up the week after Junior USA? They had moved the New York Pro there. And I'm like, are you going to do that?
I was like, no, absolutely not.
And I go, how far away do you live from the hotel?
10 minutes.
And I said, how are you going to feel if you're sitting in the audience watching the pro show and thinking you could have kicked every girl's butt on that stage?
You did say that. And I was like, he's got a point. Maybe I should, what do I have to lose, right?
Right. And I'm like, listen, there's been people that have gotten their pro cards and then they went and they won a contest.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, but we're talking about the New York Pro. And I'm like, yeah, but it's still another contest, right? And I'm like, listen, I can help you with the office to get everything expedited on Monday.
You did. That was awesome.
Right. Okay. So what happens? You got a hold of me.
I did. I got a hold of you, and I got into the IFBB pretty quickly. I think Monday was the day we got it, and that was the last day you could enter New York Pro.
Yeah.
And then by Friday, I was getting ready for prejudging, and I won. I won New York Pro a week later after getting my pro card.
Yeah, and now you're on your way to the Olympia, right?
Yes, that's the most important part.
But had I not pushed you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
She literally thought I was crazy.
I was like, this guy.
Like, even when we turned the camera off backstage at Junior USA, she's like, no, really, do you really think? And I'm like, I wouldn't be telling you this if I didn't. I'm going to push you into a contest.
You put me on blast. You're like, so you're doing it, right?
Yeah.
You're like, call Shelby.
Yeah.
Call Shelby. He said the same thing. He was like, yeah, definitely. So
Yeah.
you guys were all right.
So, I got to tell you, I thought that was pretty cool. You texted me after prejudging, telling me that you were in the first call-out and then you were in the final call-out.
Yeah, that was great.
Just the two of you. And because I was still here in Pittsburgh covering the North Americans.
Right.
And I really had no idea what was going on there.
Yeah.
So I was pretty stoked whenever I got your text, I got to be honest with you.
No, it was awesome. It was so cool. It was so cool. Because I really don't think I would have done it unless I had, like, you and my coach giving me that kind of, like, extra bump. Because in my mind, I was like, well, you just turned pro. Like, you're way not on pro level yet. Like, you need to wait. Don't make a fool of yourself. But you never know. That is the best piece of advice. You never know.
Anything can happen on any day, right?
Yeah.
And be honest, you were a little intimidated about doing it.
I was very intimidated.
Yeah.
Yeah, but once I got backstage, all the girls were, like, really nice to me, and it was really comfortable. And then I started kind of looking at everybody, and I was like, oh, maybe I have, like, a little chance here. I think I could be competitive. And then I got put in the center, and I was like, oh, they're gonna move me. They're just putting me here, and then they just left me there. So it was incredible.
So what was going through your mind now? Like you said, so you get called out for comparisons, and you're like in the middle of everything. What were you thinking while you're on stage?
Oh my God, I was like, I don't want to say a bad word, but I was like, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. I remember I was just holding my front pose, and that's like all I was saying. I was like, don't move, holy shit, holy shit. And yeah, I was blown away. And then, I mean, even after I got off for prejudging, between prejudging and finals, I still was like, everyone was like, you won the show. And I was like, no, I didn't. Like, we still have to do finals. They might move me. Like, and they're like, they usually don't, but I still, that's always how I am.
Listen, people, the confirmation scoring round at these kind of contests are live. Mm-hmm. Yeah, as I always say, until somebody announces you where your placing is, the contest is still live.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
The scores can change, judges can change, bodies can change.
Absolutely.
I've seen contests myself where somebody is winning in the prejudging,
Yeah.
and they probably went and ate a hamburger or milkshake, and they
Yes.
come back in there in third.
Yeah. Or second place
Yeah.
from prejudging comes back looking like incredible, and you're like, what happened?
Right.
So yeah, I try never to be like think that you have something in the bag until you do. I mean, even when I heard them call second place, and then they called my number, I looked at my number like a few times, like, are you guys sure? And the girl next to me was like, you have to go out there. I was like, I just started crying. So I was like, okay, like, yeah, I don't think it still hit me, but it's such a blessing and it's an incredible moment. I thought nothing could beat getting my pro card and that feeling, but I barely think about the moment I got my pro card
Right.
now because it just totally trumped that. So it was great.
So, the feeling of knowing that, now you are headed to the Olympia.
Yes.
So that was the end of August. So we have September, October, November, December. So in 4 months, you went from amateur to rookie pro to now you're going to the Olympia.
Yes.
Pretty crazy, right?
It's very crazy. I mean, I always had that goal in my head, but my timeline was a little more spread out of when I thought it could happen. But I'm not mad about it. I'm not complaining about my blessings. This is what I wanted. So, if it's closer than it should be, then I'm ready.
But you were ready.
I'm ready, and I'm gonna be.
You were ready.
Yeah.
All right. So, tell everybody first off how old you are.
I just turned 28 in August.
Okay. And believe it or not, she actually started out as a bikini competitor.
I sure did.
So how do you go from bikini competitor to women's physique?
Well,
Did you like to really train hard, or?
So when I first started, I think I didn't have the full picture of bodybuilding. I started looking up bodybuilders, and the first guys I saw were Dorian Yates and Phil Heath. And I was like, okay, well, that's how I need to train. So, and I also had no idea what I was doing, when I first started weightlifting, because I was always an athlete, but I never lifted weights. So I would literally go to my gym and, find the biggest guy in the gym, and I was like, hey, can I work out with you? Do you know what a lat pull is? Because I haven't, and I don't know. I'd be, on YouTube. Sometimes I'd be, on YouTube, in the gym, Googling what the exercises were, because I was like, I don't know what this is. So, a lot of the big dudes were like, oh, yeah, let this little girl train with us. So I kind of just started training with them, and I trained like them, and I trained hard and heavy, and I started growing really fast. Once I got on a meal plan, just everything started happening, and then I did my first bikini show, and I was way too peeled. I had, separated quads. And they were I won, which was cool, but they were also you need to break down some of your muscles, and then they lost me at that. I was like, yeah, I'm loving this, so I'd love to go the opposite direction and get more muscle. So I did, and my coach, I was like, well, do you think I could go to figure? And he was like, I think we're gonna skip figure.
Just
The way
completely.
you're going is
Yeah.
probably to physique. And I was like, cool, I don't really like high heels anyway. So, works for me. And then, yeah, I did a bikini show in October 2018, and then I did my first women's physique show in April in 2019. But that's when I did a different league before the MPC. But then the goal was, obviously, I was like, well, I want to go to the Olympia, so there's only one road that's going to get you there. So,
Right.
But yeah, so my first MPC show was in September 2019.
The Hurricane?
Hurricane Bay.
Yeah.
And then here we are, September a year later.
So basically, in 2 years, you went from bikini competitor
Yes.
to women's physique pro to going to the Olympia.
Yeah.
Would you have ever thought that was possible?
No, I mean I did, but not in that time frame. Yeah, it's nuts. No, if you would have told me that a year ago, I would have told you what are you smoking? So, but yeah, it's real. I have to say that out loud because I don't believe it sometimes, but yep, here we are.
Yeah. All right. So something that I actually did not know whenever I interviewed you back in Charleston at Junior USA is I've looked through your Instagram and stuff, and you've had a lot of things happen in your life, like with your back and different things, right?
Yes.
So I was really, when I saw that post that you did, I mean, I would have never, just knowing even that for the short amount of time, I would have never realized that or even guessed that, okay? So explain to them what happened with you, what you had to do, what you had to endure, like surgeries and everything, right?
Yeah, so I was adopted when I was 2 weeks old, so my parents didn't have any medical history on me, and I ended up having scoliosis, which is a genetic thing. So they didn't really have any like idea as when she gets older, she might have, scoliosis and it might get worse. And that's like the curvature of your spine, abnormal curvature. So by the time I was around 11, I was a competitive gymnast. That was my whole life. And I went to the doctor and they were like, you have some scoliosis, you should get an x-ray. So I did. And then I saw a spinal surgeon and he was like, this is going to be really bad in like 2 or 3 years once you start going through puberty and your spine really starts growing. So you need to wear a back brace all the time and you should stop gymnastics. And I was like, I'm not doing that. So fast forward to when I was 14, I was in a lot of pain. I had about a 58-degree curve and a 38-degree curve, and a normal person, just in perspective, has maybe like a 5-degree curve of their spine. So it was really bad, and they were like, you need surgery or you're not gonna, see your 20th birthday. And that's what he said to me, and I was devastated.
No, let me ask, because I really have no idea. Did you have like problems breathing and walking and sleeping and?
Right, yeah, towards the end I couldn't, like standing here for more than a couple minutes, I would have to like sit down, walking up the stairs, because my spine was pressing on my major organs, like my lungs and everything. And if it would have kept going the direction it was, eventually my lungs would have collapsed one day. So yeah, breathing was very hard. Walking upstairs was very hard. Just standing in place was very hard. So I didn't really have a choice. And I underwent that surgery about 2 months before I was supposed to start high school. So
So were you 14, 15?
Yeah, I was 14. I was going on 15. So it was about a 9-10 hour surgery.
Wow.
I had a couple blood transfusions, and so now I have 2 titanium rods. They're about 12, 13 inches on either side of my spine. And then I have 24 screws and 6 hooks. So I kind of describe them as like bumpers. If my spine was a bowling ball trying to grow crooked, it can only grow straight now. So my curvature now is maybe 12 degrees, which is still moderate, but it's way better than 38 and 58.
Right.
Yeah, and I had to learn how to walk again. Everything. I learned how to do everything again. It was the worst pain I've ever had in my life, but I made it through.
I'm assuming you had to give up gymnastics?
I did. That was the end of my career for gymnastics because I couldn't flip anymore. I couldn't bend. I didn't have that range of motion. My back only bends because I'm fused down to around L6 or 5, so really I only have like one free lumbar, and then my sacral part of my back bends. So after that, I also dealt with a lot of depression and stuff because that was,
right.
That was my heart and my dream. And but since then, I never really had any. My parents never were like, "You're limited and you need to, take it easy." They were always the type of people who were like, if you feel like you can do something, go out there and do it. So right. I think that was a blessing because I never really saw myself as limited at all. So I did everything else. I showed up to my first day of high school, fresh out of surgery. I didn't take my doctor's note to PE. I did everything that I wanted to do, and I moved on to dance because I felt like that was close to gymnastics, and I got really into theater, things like that. And then I got into boxing, and then I got into bodybuilding. And I can say it hasn't limited me at all. You know, I think if anything, I'm strengthening my back and the muscles of my back.
Now,
really helped.
were like, I'm sure you went for checkups. So when you started doing these other sports and then eventually training with weights, were the doctors nervous about that?
Well, yeah, he told me, you know, you're not going to be like this serious athlete anymore like you were when you were a gymnast. They were kind of the only ones who told me that I was going to have limitations, and I was like, I don't feel that way, you know? I recovered a lot quicker than they said I would. I did sports that they said I wasn't going to be able to do, and I'm sure they didn't think I was going to become a Olympian bodybuilder either. So, you know, that was just.
So you still have some limitations, like you said. How is it with training with weights? Did you figure out a way to work around all of that, but make it work at the same time?
Yes. So my back is fused, like I said. So there's really only a couple exercises I don't do. Like a conventional deadlift I won't do because it puts the bottom of my spine in a compromising position. So, but instead I can do things like a sumo deadlift because I can hinge at my hip.
Right.
And things like that.
I've seen the videos, and you have your legs pretty far apart.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And that works for me fine. And I do a lot of unilateral stuff because since I do still have a curve in my spine, my hips are a little rotated, so I have strength and differences on either side. So unilateral stuff allows me to obviously, you know, equally train both sides of my body. Even with my posing, sometimes I have to pose in ways that feel crooked to me, but they look symmetrical to the audience because of that.
Well, and I think your dance background probably helped with that, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
It gave me a big sense of awareness of my body and my movement and my balance and my aesthetics and symmetry and most importantly confidence on stage.
Right.
Yeah. So I've never let that.
So you have truly overcome all the odds.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll get some more trials.
Well, I mean, to this point. So
to this point, for
I
sure.
mean, where you start out, overcome the odds with that. You know, get into, like you said, start in bikini, end up women's physique. You know, you overcome the odds, you win Junior USA, and on the way to Olympia. I mean, it seems like your storyline right there. Your life is you just keep battling and overcome the odds and just doing what you want to do.
It
right?
is, yeah.
You know?
It's a lot of mental fortitude, and you know, I didn't believe in myself the way I did now a couple years ago, but I've impressed myself a lot. I think with the things that I've been able to do, because there's been moments where I'm like, how are you going to do that? Like, you can't. I don't know if you can do that. Like, I don't know if you have that in you. And every time I've had it in me. So that's a good feeling.
Right. Now, before the Junior USA, I had already been following her, which she didn't realize. But whenever I saw her tag on other people's things, and if your Instagram name is the real Lois Lane, of course it's going to pique my interest.
Batman, yeah, of course.
So I think it was funny whenever we were doing the interview, and I'm like, oh yeah, I already follow you, and she's like, what? I'm like,
really?
Yeah. Well, with that, come on, with that name, why wouldn't I, right?
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I really knew nothing about you until, I mean, just what you see on Instagram isn't,
Yeah.
you know.
No.
And so basically, whenever I did the interview with her, pushing her to do New York Pro, I literally had known her 5 minutes, in all honesty.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But maybe it was the whole comic book connection.
I think it was. I do. I did that Batman guest posing.
I know
for
that.
you in
I know
your
that.
honor, so.
I know that. So let me ask you this. I've had a couple of people ask me this question, and I've wondered this too. So the tattoos on your back, is that because of where the surgery was? Does that cover the...
It's not. And
okay, a lot of people assume that.
Yeah, they do, and I don't.
It's just kind of, you know, I kind of assumed it, but
Yeah.
there might be another story for that. But well, you can see why people would think that if they knew, if they've looked at your story.
Absolutely. No, actually, I had a pretty cool scar, and I loved it, and I would make up funny stories. Like when people ask me what happened, I'd be like, I got in a fight with a shark or something, you know. So no, I had no
Feel
like.
bad for the shark.
I know, right? So I had no I didn't have any like insecurities or not wanting people to see my scar. That's just, this tattoo is actually, it's Israeli Moroccan henna that ties into the biblical story of Rachel, because I'm Jewish and obviously my name is Rachel. So that's what that is.
Your name is Rachel?
Yeah, it's not Lois.
Oh,
I know you thought so. But no, it started on my neck and somehow it ended up all the way down my back. But that had nothing whatsoever to do with with covering my scars. Your scar is your story. So
well, that's a cool. I mean, I wondered.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, and like I said, I've had a lot of people go, ask her about her back tattoo. Seriously, they're like, whenever I told people you were coming in.
Yeah.
More people ask, I think, about that.
They do, yeah.
Yeah.
They do. People ask me too if they do.
I know you have other tattoos, but it seems like that's the one everybody wants to know about.
Oh, okay.
So now we have our answer.
Okay, yes. It's a cool tattoo and it's not to cover my scar.
There you go.
Although it does.
Right. It just happened that way.
It did, yeah. It just happened
Yeah.
artistically that way.
All right, so let's talk about that Instagram handle, the real Lois Lane. How did you come up with that?
Honestly, I was in a really bad place in my life before I was a bodybuilder, and I told myself I wanted to be, this probably sounds cliche, but I wanted to be like the strongest girl I met. I wanted to be Superwoman. And in some ways, when I picked Lois Lane, it was kind of like a metaphor. I think that only I kind of understood. You know, she was, although Lois was like a strong character, she was always depending on a Superman or somebody else to save her. And that's kind of how I felt in my life. I was always waiting for something or someone to bring me happiness or make me feel better or save me or blame the world for my problems. And in some of the write-offs of Superman comics, if you get really into it, Lois Lane actually gets superpowers eventually and becomes, Supergirl. So that's kind of where I got that metaphor, and I was like, well, you could be you're Lois, you were Lois in some ways, but now I consider myself a Superwoman. So
there you go. I like that.
The real Lois Lane.
It's the real Lois Lane.
Yeah, and it just caught on. So
I bet you a lot of people have never asked you about that, right? They just
no, they don't. They don't, or they think my name's Lois, even though it says my real name in my bio. But
see, I at least knew what your real name was.
Yeah,
I did know that.
Thank you.
I knew the real Lois Lane was just a handle. Whenever I went and started looking, I'm like, oh, so her name is really Rachel. Yeah, myself is I'm there.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, of course, I at first thought it was, but
but you're not going to tell me that.
No,
All right,
no.
Until now.
Right. All right. So now you're here. You're in Pittsburgh. You're at the NPC Photo Gym, home of the NPC and IFBB Pro League.
Yes.
When I came here, you're kind of like sitting there. You're kind of like I could see you like looking around.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts being here?
It's just like
it's part of this whole journey.
It's like it's historical. You have all these pictures of Olympians and just all the stories you told me about who's trained here and like sat on this equipment that I'm getting to sit on. It's just like one day I think in my head like one day maybe you'll be like Miss Olympia and you and JM will talk about that time. Remember that time where you just turned pro and you came to the gym the first time? And it's just it's a great energy. It's kind of magical, so I love it.
You're actually listening to me. But doing the New York, I just feel like a little connection to you with the comic book and stuff too.
Yes.
So I mean, I'm real happy that you wanted to come here and everything.
Of course. No, yeah. You guys helped me so much, and then helping me just be able to compete that quickly is like that means so much to me. So IFBB NPC is obviously my family, and I'll do anything to see you guys.
So listen, if you have not seen Rachel pose, okay, she had a guest posing that was at the Hurricane, right? Or where was that?
I had a couple.
The one where you did the Batman routine.
Oh, that was no, that wasn't Hurricane. That was NPC Muscle Extravaganza.
Okay, that's out there. Okay, she did have a customized Batman costume for it.
I did from Suits You. They're a great company.
She had texted me, hey, this one's for you.
Yeah, I did. I had a cape and everything.
Well, and Lucy from Suits You said that, oh, you get to, see Rachel's outfit for this weekend. Like, she didn't tell me at first.
Oh, yeah. She knew.
Her and Clive were like, haha, wait till you see.
Yeah, she was like, I had a dream that you come out in this cape, and like, I was like, okay, I like that dream.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's make it a reality.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah, I think you're one of to come along, one of the best posers right now.
Thank you. That's a great compliment.
And, knowing about the background in gymnastics, dance, everything, but you've combined everything.
I'm trying to bring a new.
And do you choreograph it yourself?
Yes, I do all my own routines. Yeah,
Oh, nice.
definitely.
Great.
I just think I have a certain style. I don't know if I could really adopt anyone else's. So I like to bring that like golden era back where it was, posing was really taken more seriously, I think, and it was really an expression of these athletes and all their feelings and everything they went through on their prep. So I try to, like you said, also combine, my dance and theater, and I just like to perform. So it's always a blast for me to pose.
Oh, good. All right. So is there anybody you want to give a shout out to here?
Definitely. My coach, Shelby Starnes. He's the best. And my sponsor, Titan Medical, for everything they do for me. And Suits You, of course, for making all my awesome guest posing suits. And my Olympia suit, which I am happy to see soon. And obviously, you and everyone in my NPC and IFBB family for all you guys do for all the athletes, because I think there's a lot of stuff that I've seen happen behind the scenes that everyone doesn't get to see, and it's because you guys love the athletes and you love the sport, and we appreciate you on behalf of all of us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course.
All right, well, we're going to see Rachel next at Planet Hollywood in December. So, J.M. Mannion,
Rachel Daniels.
signing out for NPCNewsOnline.com.